Right now at 5, a Mansfield student is facing some serious trouble after officials say they brought multiple weapons onto school grounds.
Plus, we're getting a closer look at the moment a barrage of bullets flew in a neighborhood in New Bedford, hitting 2 people.
And the presidential candidates taking new economic visions to voters in swing states. The latest from the campaign trail.
This is Southern New England's trusted news source, ABC 6 News at 5.
First at 5, we begin with an update on our breaking news top story from 4 o'clock. Providence police quickly making an arrest in a murder that took place just hours earlier downtown. Thanks for joining us. I'm John DeLuca.
And I'm Caitlin Gelhaus. It happened this morning on Westminster Street, and that's where we find ABC 6 News anchor Alyssa Azar right now. She's live there with the latest. Alyssa.
Providence police now have a 40-year-old suspect in custody after police found a man dead inside of this home here behind me on Westminster Street this morning. Police left the scene around 30 minutes ago, but they were here all day long investigating. The suspect has not yet been identified, but we do know that the victim is 57-year-old Michael Ames. Providence police responded to this home for a well-being check on a person who was potentially injured. That's when they say they found Ames dead with what police are calling traumatic injuries.
My heart goes out to the family. It is the 10th homicide of the city. And like I've always said, it's unfortunate that sometimes it's impulsivity and anger sometimes that we end up with these homicides. My heart goes out to the family.
Police have not released any information as to how Ames was killed, but we'll continue to update you on air and online as we learn more. Live in Providence, Alyssa Azara, ABC 6 News.
Alyssa, thank you. New tonight at 5, more violence, this time in New Bedford. 2 people hospitalized after they were shot last night. And tonight, we're getting a look at the moment that barrage of bullets started flying. Here's ABC 6 News reporter Josh Kerman.
2 people are hospitalized following a shooting on the corner of Bluefield and Matthew Street just after 11 p.m. Tuesday night. According to police, both victims are expected to be okay. The ground was littered with shell casings and cars in the area were riddled with bullet holes. A neighbor's doorbell camera shows the moment 2 people on bikes cross paths with a silver car before dozens of gunshots ring out.
That was excessive. That was more than I usually hear, but it's pretty common to the point where it's like, oh, there's more gunfire going off, so it happens a lot.
Even directly under one of New Bedford's shot spotters, which triggered the police response, neighbors tell me this is a common sight.
I mean, it happens in the middle of the day. I was coming home from work one time and there was gunshots right across the street, and it's like I had to duck behind my porch. So it's like you never know when it's going to happen.
The ShotSpotter system has been in place for more than a decade in the Whaling City, but has drawn its share of criticism as an actual deterrent. According to the New Bedford Police Department, the incident is under investigation, and there's no word on any suspects in custody. The department's 2023 statistics confirmed 67 shots fired incidents in 2023, with 3 of them being fatal. We've reached out to the mayor's office and police department for more information on how they plan to curb violence in the area. We have not yet heard back. In New Bedford, Josh Kerman, ABC 6 News.
Now to an ABC 6 News update. The 24-year-old hit by a car yesterday in Cumberland has died. According to Cumberland police, it happened yesterday afternoon just before 3 o'clock. That victim, Joseph Arribas, was reportedly in the crosswalk at the corner of Highland Corporate Drive and Mendon Road when he was hit. He died at the hospital. Police say the driver was coming off of Route 99 at the time of that accident and did stay at the scene and cooperated with the investigation. No word yet on any potential charges against the driver.
The former Cumberland teacher convicted of having inappropriate contact with 2 young girls has died. 34-year-old Nicholas Oliveira was found guilty back in April on multiple counts of child molestation and had been on home confinement ever since. Now, according to court records, he was set to be sentenced today on 2 of those felony counts. Officials say Oliveira's death appears to be a suicide. State police are now investigating. And we're learning more about a North Providence man facing charges for producing child pornography. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, 50-year-old Larry Albino is accused of uploading and creating child pornography. New details show Albino was an employee at a Boston news station, but the manager confirming with us he is now no longer an employee. Earlier this month, investigators locating Albino's IP address and carrying out a search warrant at his home, matching his room to the room in the videos. He's now being kept in custody.
All right, let's change up the conversation now. Bring in Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Benson joining us now live in the Weather Center. Not a whole lot of positive adjectives to use for today's weather, Jeff.
No, but you know what, John? I'm honestly okay with it. It's kind of comfy, relaxing weather.
Is this Christina talking? Because that sounds just like her last week. She's like, cuddle up with some soup or a nice tea or coffee and get comfortable and read a book. Is that you now?
I guess I'm turning into her. I must be. Yeah, it's certainly coffee, tea, soup, cuddle up with a nice book and a blanket and watch some Netflix. It has been raining out, though. That's the thing. You usually reserve all of those things to do when it's raining out, but it's just kind of same old, all week long. Clouds remaining to hang tough. Something that has been common in the last 3 days is that we have seen breaks of sun for the afternoon and evening, and it's brightening up a little bit in South County right now. You can actually see that on both of our cameras. You can see the darker clouds to the north down to the preserve in Richmond, and here on Skycam, as we look off to the south, notice the what looks to be a little bit of clearing there along the horizon and brighter skies. And you look at the satellite, you can actually see the clearing, a visible satellite showing, what was a big blob of white earlier today. Now you can see the blue ocean, and you can see some of the land down in Washington and Kent counties over towards Newport, reporting, in fact, full sunshine. So nice evening out there, although on the cool side again. Got the clouds keeping the temperatures down. You got the east winds, the onshore flow keeping the temperatures down as well. So day, I want to say 5 or 6 now in the 60s. We'll have another day to that tomorrow before the 70s come back in and before the sun comes back in. Tracking rain showers. You'll need that umbrella tomorrow for sure, especially during the afternoon and evening hours. We could even see a thunderstorm tomorrow night, but it'll be when most of us are asleep. That's the back edge of this cold front moving through. That will give way to increasing sunshine. Not the brightest of days Friday and Saturday. We are going to be dealing with some clouds streaming all the way north from what will then be post-tropical Helene. We're going to track that for you coming up. Not a good situation for Florida, as we've been telling you all week long. It is looking like a high degree of certainty that parts of the Panhandle and Big Bend of Florida are going to get absolutely slammed by this storm. Much more on that in the 7-day coming up. We'll see you then.
All right,
guys, back to you.
So much to discuss. We'll see you then. Thank you, Jeff. Now to some other local stories we are following for you on this Wednesday afternoon. Firefighters in Providence had their hands full this afternoon responding to a frightening explosion not far from City Hall. ABC 6 News reporter Ryan Medeiros has more in this alarming story.
Providence firefighters receiving reports of an explosion on Clement Street around 2 this afternoon. A parking attendant here sharing a video of the explosion launching a manhole cover into the air. He says it felt like a lightning strike nearby. Providence police say firefighters determined a small underground electrical fire caused the explosion. Now, officials say there is no immediate threat to the public at this time. Rhode Island Energy officials have taken over the scene. In Providence, I'm Ryan Medeiros, ABC 6 News.
Thanks, Ryan. A GoFundMe set up for the 17-year-old who was shot and killed in Taunton last week. Kamitri Cole was killed on Lothrop Street Thursday. Police arresting 18-year-old Kareem Gendraw last night in Medford in connection to that shooting. According to the GoFundMe, Cole was expecting to be a father.
Well, a student at Cranston East has been arrested after police alleged they made a threatening comment on social media. According to Cranston police, that student made a threat directed at the school by way of Snapchat. The student was charged with disorderly conduct and is due in family court. Police say the threat was not credible and there is no threat to students.
Mansfield school officials say an investigation is underway after a student brought multiple weapons to a school yesterday. In a letter sent to parents, officials said that a student at Harold Qualters Middle School told administrators that another student had a BB gun and a knife. That student and the weapons were found and, quote, isolated by staff. School officials say police are investigating the incident and gave no details on any disciplinary action against that student.
Your voice, your vote 2024. Vice President Harris and former President Trump busy on the campaign trail today in several battleground states.
ABC's Christian Cordero is in Washington with more on the candidates' latest economic messages.
It is the top issue among voters, and one polls show former President Trump has the edge in. Trump today pitching his economic agenda during a speech in North Carolina.
The centerpiece of my plan for a manufacturing renaissance will be a 15% made in America tax rate. If you don't make your product here, then you will have to pay a tariff.
Some economists say Trump's tariffs plan would drive costs for consumers up, fueling the vice president's attacks that it only benefits corporations.
Just remember, Kamala's not attacking me. She's attacking your furniture job. She's attacking your communities. She's attacking your factories. and she's trying to send all of those jobs to China with everything else.
Vouching for Harris today, President Biden in an exclusive interview with The View.
She has the energy, she has the intelligence, she has the grit, she has the stamina, and she has the guts to do the right thing.
The VP, while campaigning in must-win Pennsylvania, zeroed in on her promise to build the middle class, touting her middle-class roots and experience in public service. Harris now heads to Arizona, where she'll visit the southern border for the first time since becoming the Democratic presidential nominee. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Coming up on ABC 6 News at 5, lawmakers appear ready to keep the government funded with less than a week to go before a potential shutdown.
And how police ended a chase involving a commuter bus hijacked by an armed man. You're watching ABC 6, Southern New England's trusted news source.
Your morning starts here with the day's top headlines.
To a grinding halt.
Breaking news.
I'm very happy that they caught him.
Weather and traffic, all in one place. Watch Good Morning Providence, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight.
Deny, delay, devalue.
It's a serious accident.
Still, don't see a problem.
It's the law offices of D'Oliveira and Associates.
And they want triple what we offered.
Call D'Oliveira and Associates on the Hurt line right now.
Ray knows he needs to get those dental implants, but putting in extra shifts just to afford them? Come on, Ray. You already work hard enough. That's why Aspen Dental makes it easier to afford dental implants. And now they're $0 down plus 0% interest if paid in full in 18 months. Serving up affordability in dental implants. It's one more way Aspen Dental is in your corner.
So you're running a little late. No worries. You'll make the airport, get to the meeting. It's all good. At J. Bryant Day, we know disaster can strike when you least expect it. And that's why we're here with emergency water damage service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our professional cleanup and restoration crews will get the job done quickly, and we can bill your insurance directly. So whatever the size of your water disaster,
remember, when disaster strikes, J. Bryant Day is on the way.
Hi, I'm Katie Wright, the right realtor for you. Whether you want a mobile home, a modest home, a multifamily investment, or $1 million mansion, I'm the right realtor for you and your family. Call me, Katie Wright, 401-400-1510.
At Mobility Equipment Recyclers, we believe that your disabilities don't define you, but we know they can make everyday life challenging. We empower freedom of movement with quality mobility services, refurbished equipment and replacement parts at a fraction of the usual cost. We're not only helping you live life to the fullest, but also protecting the environment. We're your one-stop shop for all your mobility needs.
2944111 Mobility Equipment Recyclers.
The accident victims were pretty badly injured. What if they ask for more money?
We're not doing that.
Call the law firm that fights for every dollar you're entitled to.
What if they call D'Oliveira and Associates?
Call D'Oliveira and Associates on the Hurt line right now.
Download the Now Local News app today and upload your pics and videos. You could see your very own story on the air and earn points towards rewards and gift cards.
Taking a look at national news at 5, nothing is set in stone yet, but it looks like the U.S. government won't be forced to close its doors next week. The Senate has come to terms on an agreement to vote on a government funding extension, which just passed the House minutes ago. The continuing resolution pushes the government shutdown deadline from September 30th to December 20th. The Biden administration is calling for the swift passage of the bill so that there's time to approve appropriation bills for the next fiscal year.
A bipartisan Senate committee releasing its report on the first Trump assassination attempt. According to this report, Secret Service agents could not agree on who was responsible for decision-making at that rally in Pennsylvania. It says agents and local law enforcement failed to set up visual barriers that would have blocked the shooter's view of Mr. Trump. They also lacked a plan on how to secure the building the shooter used to fire from. The report then goes on to say many of those problems remain unaddressed by the Secret Service.
A Kentucky sheriff charged with fatally shooting a district court judge in his chambers, pleading not guilty today. Sean Steins is charged with murdering Letcher County District Judge Kevin Mullins. last week. Authorities say the motive in the attack remains unclear. Steins is in jail without bond. A preliminary hearing is set for October 1st.
How about this story? Los Angeles police say one person is dead after a man hijacked a commuter bus early this morning. Police followed the bus in a low-speed chase for about an hour and eventually stopped the bus by using spike strips. The suspect initially barricaded himself inside of the bus, but was eventually taken into custody. A passenger who had been shot multiple times died at the hospital. Police have not released the hijacker's motive just yet.
And an evacuation order remained in effect today for residents in an Ohio town as crews continued to work at the scene of a dangerous chemical leak. Emergency officials say Tuesday's leak came from a train car with an open valve that let out styrene gas. Officials say they are concerned about the potential of an explosion due to the rising temperature inside the train car with the leak. Crews have been working to contain the vapor by cooling down the affected areas. No injuries have been reported.
ABC 6 Weather with Jeff Benson. Brought to you by the Preserve Sporting Club and Resort.
Welcome inside the Weather Center, everybody, on this Wednesday afternoon. Well, I guess Wednesday evening at this point. I'm Jeff Benson, and this is Hurricane Helene, and it is a strong storm. We have seen an increase in the wind speeds from the 2 o'clock update to the 5 o'clock bulletin, and that is showing that the storm is strengthening. Pressure now down to 978 millibars. It's moving north of 12 miles per hour, which is a pretty good pace to begin with, but it's only going to get faster as it strengthens. And now also new in at the 5 o'clock bulletin, it is now expected to strengthen rapidly into a Category 4 storm by Thursday before it makes landfall along the Florida Panhandle or a portion of the Big Bend of Florida. And it looks like a little bit more of a western track. The faster this storm goes, the less time it'll have a chance to really move. So a pretty good degree of certainty that somewhere over here by Point St. Joe or Apalachicola, it will make that landfall tomorrow evening. So we've got the hurricane warnings there, but look at the entire Sunshine State. Not going to be very sunny here over the next 48 hours as we are looking at a tropical storm warning. Pretty much everybody outside of the Gulf Coast and Big Bend here in the blue. Orlando, Miami, some real big cities here, Jacksonville, and that is because of the expansive size of the storm. So you're going to get a good swath of not necessarily hurricane force winds outside of the areas that are under the hurricane warning right here, but you will get a ton of rain. And look at how big the wind field is. These are the wind radii for the storm. Obviously, again, more localized to the center of the storm are those hurricane swath winds, which are going to be well over 100 miles per hour. In fact, in some cases, could be upwards of seeing gusts in the 150 mile per hour range. But again, that big yellow encompassing the entire Atlantic coast portion of the state here up into places like Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina. And you're also dealing with a big storm surge risk out of this. Obviously, this is going to be the brunt of it here, but you'll see some tidal flooding all the way down to places like Marco Island and Naples and Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Island there as well. Areas that, just are finally recovering from a hurricane a few years ago. Hopefully they don't get anything nearly too bad. I don't think it is going to be that bad, and they're only looking at 1 to 3, 1 to 4 feet, whereas places along the Big Bend are looking at over 12 feet of inundation. That is, I'm saying that correctly, over 12 feet of inundation in this area. Now, obviously, again, this is where the brunt of those winds are going to be. Torrential rain, tidal flooding, life-threatening tidal flooding here. But the storm is moving so fast that as it moves inland here, it is not going to really have a chance to weaken that quickly. So that's bad news for the Atlanta metro, parts of northern Georgia, eastern South Carolina as well, and even into Tennessee and parts of North Carolina. So this is a big storm. It's going to be affecting millions and millions of people here. And it is going to eventually send some clouds and showers up about to here as we head into Friday night and Saturday. So we'll get some clouds out of that, but fortunately no rain. We're just getting the cold front that's moving through right now into the northeast. And you can see a couple little showers passing tonight well north and west of us. We're going to start seeing increasing amounts of rain as we head into Thursday afternoon. So have that umbrella with you handy, especially during the PM hours tomorrow. And then the back edge of this cold front could even spawn a couple of thunderstorms. This is overnight into Friday morning. And then the sun comes back and you can see some clearing here. And hey, back to the 70s 70s as well. It's been a cool stretch of weather here in addition to a cloudy one. So again, Friday, sun and clouds. Saturday, we're going to call it partly sunny. We're getting those clouds streaming northward from the remnants of Helene at that point, and then more veiled sunshine. I think a little bit brighter, though, on Sunday. Highs into the low 70s into next week, and a mixture of sun and clouds Monday and Tuesday before our next bout of rain on Wednesday.
So if I'm not mistaken, that takes us into October.
That's
Somewhere
right.
on that 7-day forecast.
That's right. I should probably put maybe a little pumpkin or something to let everybody know.
And it's official, pumpkin spice and everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
Good to go.
I have relaxed my pumpkin spice guidelines over the last couple of years. I know Tiffany somewhere.
Yeah, some people are adamant about it. Very militant. It's like, no.
Oh, that used to be me. That used to be me. Maybe I'm getting older and I'm just like, go with the flow. But I used to be like, no, cannot have. I think it's just because they keep coming out with it earlier and earlier. It's in mid-August now. It's something ridiculous.
Mid-August is a bit soon, but people love it.
I let it slide in early September now, especially if the weather calls for it. If it's weather like this, by all means.
Pumpkin
You said it. It was cozy weather.
Cozy weather. There you go.
We can have a pumpkin spice, Jeff. Right?
Thank you, Jeff. Time now for our question of the day. Very simple. Do you prefer splitting the bill or getting separate checks? This can start arguments. I heard Jeff earlier. He's ready to throw down with anybody who doesn't pay their fair share. Anyway, what are you thinking? Even is fine, or you want a separate check? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. You can scan the QR code on your screen, or you can head to abc6.com/spotlight to cast your vote. Still to come on ABC 6 News at 5, a looming strike involving dock workers could devastate our nation's supply chain. What is at stake?
And the familiar cause ruffling some grocery shoppers' feathers as egg prices are back on the rise.
Your total access, Access Hollywood.
Weeknights at 7 on ABC 6.
Not all canned beans are the same. To show you why Goya black beans are so good, we brought in the experts.
Approved.
Approved. Approved.
If it's Goya, it has to be good.
What's the score of the game?
The new Hyundai Elantra with America's best warranty. There's joy in every journey. Lease a Hyundai Elantra for only $159 a month, or get 1.99% APR or up to $1,500 bonus cash. Hurry in.
Hello again, I'm Frank Coletta, and I'm with Josh Wells of the Retirement Factory with some expert financial advice. Now, Josh, I don't know if this is the case for you since you are in the business, but the most common question I hear amongst my friends and family when it comes to retirement is, how much do I need to retire?
The biggest question that we're asked is, how much do I need to retire? The answer should be found within your customized written income report, which is based on your lifestyle, the last 3 years of your earnings, and how much money you've saved in your 401k, IRA, and stock accounts. Now, this information factors into something called a retirement income ratio, which, depending on your lifestyle needs, would be broken down into a 3-3-10 or a 5-5-20 ratio. Now, I know that sounds like a ton, but when you see it on paper, it makes a lot of sense.
So it sounds like you are saying there is a magic number for people. It's just not the same for everyone. So how do you know where to begin?
If you're interested in finding out how much money you need to retire, we'd be happy to put together a customized written income report for you as well. The information's on the screen. Call us, text us, email us, or stop on by.
So remember, you can contact the Retirement Factory anytime for any kind of information you want and for your customized written income report. Just text report or call us at the information on the screen. And thanks for joining us.
See you soon.
GNC Plumbing specializes in superior plumbing services, providing expert technicians, unparalleled customer care, and transparent pricing, and a 2-year service warranty. Proud to provide quality services to the community we call home. Call GNC Plumbing today.
Not all canned beans are the same. To show you why Goya black beans are so good, we brought in the experts.
Approved.
Approved. Approved.
If it's Goya, it has to be good.
With so much at stake, more Americans turn to ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 newscast across all of television.
And ABC 6 News with Tiffany Murphy and John DeLuca, Southern New England's trusted news team.
In consumer news tonight at 5, work at some of the busiest ports in the country could soon come to a standstill. The International Longshoremen's Association, which represents 45,000 workers across dozens of ports, is threatening to strike if a new labor agreement is not reached by Tuesday. Dock workers from Texas to Maine are looking for better pay and protections from automation. Although a short-term strike would not cause a major disruption, the experts say a prolonged strike could disrupt more than half of U.S. shipping traffic.
And thousands of Textron aviation workers striking for a third day in Kansas. Strikers are demanding higher pay and better benefits after rejecting a contract offered to the IAM union over the weekend. Providence-based Textron added it's committed to negotiating in good faith with the IAM. So far, no date has been set on when contract negotiations will resume.
Also, workers at Boeing say they felt pressured to focus on production speed over quality. That's according to a new report released by Senate investigators. In that report, employees say they did not feel as if they'd been trained enough to do their jobs. Boeing is facing multiple investigations because a door plug blew off a 737 MAX jet in mid-air. In response to the report, a spokesperson for Boeing saying the company has taken steps to create a safety culture that encourages employees to speak up.
And egg prices are spiking again. They jumped by more than 28% in August compared to last year. The main cause for rising egg prices is pretty familiar: bird flu. Birds are getting sick, meaning fewer eggs, so less supply, and thus higher prices at the grocery store. According to a spokesperson for the CDC, bird flu has impacted nearly 101 million birds across 48 states since January of 2022. And just ahead on ABC6 News at 5:30, we'll take you back to the scene of the capital city's 10th homicide of the year for the latest on the police investigation.
And we'll take a look at the latest effort in Fall River to do away with homeless encampments in the city and all of the pushback it's now getting. Those stories and much more coming up on ABC6 News at 5:30. Before we get there, though, let's quickly take a peek outside Skycam HD on this gray Wednesday, showing 95 southbound by Allen's Ave exit. No problem for those folks going south. You know the story. You can see it as well as I can. 95 northbound, a slow slog on their way going north. We'll be right back.